couple of months.
Yes,
man,
sir.
you're part of the fan, man. It's gonna be exciting, bro. I can't wait.
I want to throw this in here, Sam, man. We ain't talk about this one. I'm gonna get your opinion on what you think about this, man. The report came out today that pretty much Camron reached out on behalf of a 9 Trey Blood member in the 6ix9ine case. Now the dude's name is Nuke Mack, who was a friend of Camron. He wrote a letter to the judge. Now Nuke was pretty much recommended that he get a 30-year sentence. He was caught up with the whole racketeering case with I don't know how many people it was with 6ix9ine, but here's the letter he wrote. He put, "Dear Judge Engelmeyer, I have had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Mack for the past 10 years. Mr. Mack is a good person, and he always had morality in his actions. This is why I can assure you that although he has had recent challenges, he is a decent person with a good heart. I am sure that as long as Mr. Mack receives the support from the people around him, he can quickly be rehabilitated. I believe in him and will lend support, which will enable him to become an upstanding part of our community. Thank you for your time, and I hope that your decision will lend Mack the opportunity to repair his actions that he had been caused." Do you see a problem with him writing a letter to a judge on behalf of a gang member?
Absolutely not. I don't.
Right.
Absolutely not. If he knew the kid, if he vouched for the kid,
right,
and he decided to take it upon himself to try to help that kid get less time in a situation where he may deem to be foul because of the circumstances behind it, I don't find that false at all. How could I? We look at young kids of different cultures, of different races, and you look at a young white boy going through the judicial
right
system, you know what I'm saying? And he looks at a judge that looks just like him and reminds him of himself when he was a kid and may give this kid a break, and then look at another brother that looks like you, Vic, and may be a little more harsher on that line of punishment because he can't relate to that situation. So when you look at a Camron that can relate to a situation, albeit this kid may have made some mistakes, but not deserving 30 years behind bars, if I can help, I don't know how much it's going to help, but if I could try, I ain't mad at that.
What do you say to the people though out there who say, because we sat in ARAB's trial, and they found him guilty.
They did.
And the prosecution, they made him seem like he was a monster to the community. He took lives. Now this guy, charged with racketeering and narcotics trafficking. So same boat, pretty much as ARAB. What do you say to the people who say, I don't want to hear none of that? You did the crime. You don't need to be in society. You need to go behind bars to be rehabilitated. Especially if you're talking about a federal racketeering drug trafficking case, there's casualties that come with selling drugs. Obviously, people die. I'm not saying that he has anybody that's attached to him.
Yeah.
So what do you say to that crowd of people who's definitely going to have something to rebut what you said about that?
I would warn them to pay attention to everything you hear and don't necessarily put everything into what the media is telling you. Sitting there firsthand. Now, I think I sat there 2 of the 3 days. You sat there 3. No, 2 of the 5, 6. You sat there 3.
Right.
Something like that. We went up there. Yeah. To see and witness what was going on, to listen to testimony from federal agents that were tapping into social media, watching this brother's whereabouts, locations, ultra surveillance, and then what they've gathered from that, and it not being much. And you look at a defense team that was completely shredding everything the prosecution threw at him. It was almost like it looked like the Lakers against the fucking, you know what I mean? One of the old Supersonics, some bad team back in the day. Just one-sided on a defense. You would think that it was a no-brainer that this brother would be found innocent and be home, but not the case. When you look at a defense that was being blocked by the judge, when you look at a jury that didn't look anything like them, and I'm not saying this because I'm a black man, this is what I'm suspecting. Now, I sat in the trial in Philadelphia and actually watched these things. What am I to think that this doesn't happen everywhere? What am I to think that you got a situation where you got a group of people who they're trying to take down? You have one person set in place within that to basically confirm everything that these people are saying, like the situation in Philadelphia, so that we could take everybody down. I'm not mad at Camron, man.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not mad at him. I think we definitely need, more people to do this. And I've done it like on a small scale before. People would need a letter for probation and stuff like that. And they need somebody who's, an upstanding person in the community to vouch for him. Meek Mill had it. So it's something like a mentor. It's a good thing, to have. And Camron's right, I think. I think that he can with the right support. And Camron's putting himself in that position, like, yo, I'm gonna help him. You know what I mean? If you lessen his sentence, now he's facing 30. The judge may look at this and say, all right, I'll take it into consideration. I don't want to ruin this young man's life. I want to give this man maybe 7, make he learn his lesson, and then he can come out and then be able to hopefully turn his life around. Because a lot of guys do go into the system and do turn their life around. Some guys go right back in, obviously, but some guys do, and they get the right people around them and they change their mind. They can definitely be rehabilitated. But I don't think the system as it stands, though, can do it alone. They need, like, people around them to help facilitate that.
Agree.
Definitely.
Good point.
What do you think on that, Vic, before we move to the next one? How you feel about Camron writing a letter on behalf of a friend of his to the judge?
I feel it's the right thing to do. Like, I feel like to put someone through that is like, why would you do that? Because, prison, I feel, is slavery. It's slavery. Because if you look at one of the amendments, you can only be a slave if you go through the prison system.
13th.
The 13th Amendment.
Yeah, that's cut and dry. And then, what backs it up is some of the conditions, like in Mississippi, Yo Gotti and Jay-Z pretty much got the feds to come in and look at that situation, because it was just so much, like, people dying, toilets not flushing, just the worst possible living conditions. And then the labor side, which is even bigger thing than working for 49 cents a day. But what they're doing, people should be getting paid a livable wage to do that, so they're able to cut those costs. And it's slavery, free and exploitable labor.
Indentures.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I see it as. And then, you feel me? Working a job is the same thing, I feel. Because
speak on it.
You're making money to do work.
Right.
So that's exactly what indentured servitude is. No matter how you look at it, if you're working for someone else and they're giving you money to do it, you're not working for yourself, you're working for them. So instead of you to manifest your blessings, you're manifesting theirs.
Yeah, and we spoke on that a lot. I think especially in 2019, we were real heavy on that. I don't think that we equated it to slavery necessarily, but definitely understood the value of doing for self.
Yeah.
And being your own boss and your own person. Just because on our both of us chest, ain't no man telling us when to be somewhere or when to do this or when to do that. Or I can't go and chill with my kid on his birthday because it's mandatory in the summertime that I have to be here. And you have dictation over whether or not I can feed my child.
Yeah.
If I don't.
Yeah.
Now that's too much power for me.
Right.
That's a lot.
And I think ultimately, man, sometimes you may have to work, not necessarily for somebody, but with somebody with the future aspirations. They should be showing you and teaching you how to do your own thing. That's what I think. Right. It's like if we was lawyers and you was an inspiring lawyer, you coming in here like you can get your own practice one day, but right now we showing you the ropes.
That's how I feel.
Right.
That's how I feel education should be. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do with algebra?
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Geometry. I'm not gonna need that later on. Like, why do I need to know about Christopher Columbus? Like some real shit like that. Like, just give me like the real basics, like, you feel me, as I'm a kid, but make sure that I know what I want to do. Like, some people want to be an astronaut. You want to be an astronaut, learn how to be an astronaut. Like,
absolutely.
Do the things that are necessary to be an astronaut, and then work with that when you're like in your teens and go through simulations and stuff like that to get you ready for all that. They'll
throw that out as a pipeline dream now and they'll never even give anybody the tools to even think remotely that they have a chance to even do it. What the fuck is a space camp at to where a motherfucker, if they wanted to go up in space, can learn how to do that shit?
Right.
Where the fuck is that at?
Right.
Yeah, and
you get Umar Johnson School, man. I ain't even saying that dude's name.
I ain't even going there right now. I'm still enjoying the shit. So let me turn the channel on. Just enjoy it.
What do you guys think about us going to Mars?
Mars? What do I think about us going to Mars? First off, I don't know. I definitely think there's other life out there. This goddamn universe and this galaxy is too big for us to be the only ones on it, only ones in it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not Mars is the planet or another planet, I'm with us going out there and searching now. I have to question certain things that the media tells us. So I don't know how accurate. I don't know if we've ever been on Mars already. I don't know how much information was gathered. I really don't know. When it comes to things like that, I question a lot, man. So
we're killing our planet.
Right.
So for us, I feel like us as humans to really step up and become like more intellectual beings, we have to dominate another planet.
So you think it's Mars?
Mars.
What do you think about that?
What do you mean by dominate another planet? You sound like the white man.
So nigga,
see it goes like anytime you
this
want.
motherfucker sound like the man right now. We must dominate.
Yeah. Nah, what you mean though? You like take resources from there, get other resources.
Like, you feel me? If you have if there's another planet that's like our planet,
Okay, yes sir, yes sir.
Let's do this Nipsey June before we get up out of here, man. All right, so marathon.